that's the color that you're going to be getting. Cut it up into pastillas.
Basically, you just throw it in there. So you want the glaze to kind of coat it.
Hi, I'm Grace. I'm the co-founder of the Entrée.Pinays, a collective of 6 Australian Filipinos working to bring Filipino cuisine, culture and communities to the hearts and minds of Australians in Wiradjuri country. I'm so excited to be partnering up with the Department of Trade and Industries and showcasing one of the amazing produce of the Philippines, our coffee, or café. This variety here is from Rosa Juan, which is ethically sourced and artisanally roasted Arabica beans from the high elevation farmlands of the Benguet region in the Cordilleras region of the Philippines. I love sweets, and one of my favorite childhood sweets of all time is probably pastillas. And I thought a great way to pay homage to the flavors of the Arabica beans that we have from Rosa Juan is to actually combine them in the pastillas and have them almost like a lolly mix of amazing flavors of coffee with milk. So I found that the best way to extract all the dark roasted goodness of these beans was to actually use the Italian style mocha pot. So what I'm going to do is take a few of the beans and get that going. So while that is boiling away, we're going to get started on showing you the ingredients that make up the pastillas. Your can of condensed milk, which is one of the 3 things that you need to add to the pastillas. With pastel coming along, it also makes as a good component to a Filipino-inspired hamper. All we're going to do is add 2.5 cups of milk powder. And before we start stirring that in, what we're going to do is wait for that to boil. Using our mocha pot, gently, because it's quite hot still, 2 tablespoons of that coffee. You want to get your hot coffee, pour it into there, that beautiful color come through. So basically, as you can see, you're going to have this style of color. It's almost like the texture of Play-Doh right now. So that's the consistency that you want. If you find that in adding the 2.5 cups of the milk powder, it was still quite loose or quite sticky, you want to add a little bit more of the milk powder to it. Get some of your baking paper and you want to cut them out into like 4 by 5 inch squares. Like similarly to pulveron, I've just basically created a fringe here using some scissors, and it's a great task for if you have kids with their child-proof scissors. They can start helping you out with making some of these wrappers. Using some very clean hands, you want to be getting a handful of your pastillas mix and onto your working space here. You want to get some of the milk and a little bit of your ground coffee. And what you're doing is really just making a bit of a mix here. This is going to be used as not only your milk powder surface with your coffee grinds, it's also going to add a little bit of more texture to your pastillas as you roll it out into a little sausage. When you get it into this particular thickness, just cut it up into 2-inch long pastillas pieces. You don't have to be totally exact, so let me start wrapping that up. Pick up your pastilla piece, I put that into the center. I will then bring the edges together of that baking paper. Fold it once, fold it twice, getting it close to the cylinder of the pastillas, and then bring it over again. And then once you got that and it feels steady, you will then twist it to be a bonbon. So that's why this is a perfect pasalubong edible gift for when you approach the Pasko season and you're wanting to show people that you love them through something sweet, which is what I love to do as a sweet Cora cakes and my time with the Entrée.Pinays. So thanks for joining me for In My Cocina to showcase a beautiful product that's come from Rosa Juan's. It's just beautifully paired well with this milk pastillas candy. And so whilst I finish up my sweet application here, I'm going to pass along this bag to our chef friend, Chef Arnie, who will show you a savory application of these coffee beans. Thanks again.
Thanks Grace for the introduction, and thanks so much for the pastillas that you sent as well. They were so delicious, I couldn't stop eating them. Hi everybody, my name's Arnulfo Josue. Everybody just calls me Arnie for short. I've been a chef for about 21 years. I'm from Melbourne. For the last 15 years I've been traveling around the world working at different places, Hatted star restaurants. I came back last year to spend some time with my family. The dish I'm going to make for you guys today is a sticky coffee caramel pork salad. It's a dish that I used to do back in the day when I was a chef de partie with Paul Wilson at Botanical. The product I'm using today is from Roaster Juan, which is a company in the Philippines. Filipino coffee, Jefe blend. So this salad is quite fresh and vibrant for summer. So we've got some pork belly, some papaya, iceberg lettuce, carrots, fresh herbs, some roasted peanuts, fried shallots and garlic, and also some salted duck egg as well. So how are we going to use the Roaster Juan Jefe blend coffee beans? We're going to extract the flavor from there. We're just going to grind it for the mocha pot, that's recommended. And then we're just going to extract it, and then we're going to reduce it into a caramel. To make the caramel, so it's been grinded up and we've used this mocha pot. Throw in the brown sugar, fish sauce, soy sauce, chili flakes, and then once the coffee is already risen up, we're just going to add all of it to the glaze. Reduce this until it's like a caramel. So the coffee will pair perfectly with the caramel because it's roasted quite dark. So it will stand up to the flavors of the salted egg, the citrus, and the actual pork. So a master stock is just a stock that you're gonna cook the pork belly in. So basically we just threw all the ingredients in a pot. We've just zested the orange, and then we're just gonna squeeze the lemons in there. So we'll probably bring that to the boil, and then we'll add our pork belly. So for this dish, you want a good ratio of meat to fat, just like that. And basically you just throw it in there. To tell if it's cooked, the pork belly, you just get a little knife and you kind of like prick it a little bit. So if the juices run clear, that means the pork belly is ready to go. And then we'll just leave it in the master stock, put a lid on there and let it cool down naturally. Once it's cooled, just take it out, and so. And then just throw it in the fridge and let it completely cool down. And do it overnight. I'll just start off with the salad. I've just cut the iceberg in fours. And then I've just julienned the papaya, the carrots, thinly sliced the spring onions, the chili, and the red onions. So once the pork is cooled down, I've cut it into these big strips. I wouldn't cut it any smaller than that because it'll get quite dry and it'll be just hard to kind of eat. So I've fried the pork belly already, so it's nice and crispy. So think about like lechon kawali. So once that's ready, I've got some of the coffee caramel. I've added a little bit of water to just thin it down a little bit. So I'm just going to add that to the pork to the caramel. So I'm just going to throw it back on the heat just to warm it up a little bit. So you want the glaze to kind of coat it, but so it's not too watery, but yet not too thick. I've just picked all the herbs and just threw them all together. Pair some of the iceberg lettuce, a handful of the carrots, spring onions, some papaya, a little bit of the red onions. You can add hot chili onions if you want. I'm going to add the dressing. So the dressing is just basically calamansi, sunflower oil, peanut oil, finely grated garlic, salt and pepper. And I'll just put a little bit of that. So I will just build this up. So that would be enough for the plate that I'm using. So once that caramel is kind of warmed up a little bit, see how it's kind of thinned down a little bit. So I would throw that on top already, around. And maybe just a little bit of the caramel, not too much because you'll wilt the salad. Put some of the fresh herbs. I'll put a little bit of the dressing and then I'll just throw it on top. The salted egg. I like duck egg, so I'm just gonna put 2. So the crunchy bits, just some toasted peanuts on top for a bit of texture. Some fried shallots, fried garlic, the spring onions, and I like to add a little bit more of the dressing just to cut the fattiness of the pork. And there you go, a sticky coffee caramel pork salad using the Roaster Juan Jefe blend Filipino coffee. Please support Filipino products. A lot of it is really amazing and you're giving back to the community as well.